and welcome to round one of the LFS TRR Team Rock Racing 2020 Championship. I'm TCP and I'll be broadcasting this the first round and as many others as Rocky wants me to. Qualifying is about to get underway, so we'll switch over to that live in just a second. So yeah, qualifying is about to begin, so let's jump to LFS. Word of forewarning, I'm testing out a very old version of LFS TV Director for this, so if it starts to bug out, we'll turn it off. So as soon as people start setting lap times, we should start seeing some times coming in. We've currently got 33 people on track, so pretty good turnout for the first round so far. On board with one of the B2R drivers at the moment. A lot of different teams representing themselves in this series, actually. Most of the drivers on the grid are from Team Rock Racing. And there's been a crash in qualifying, that's always a good thing. Between Eduardo and one of the TRR drivers, it looks like. As Adam makes a move on one of the WCL drivers there during quali. Good to see a bit of fighting going on. Let's turn TV Director off for a second and see who's currently leading the way. So on pole we have someone from Yes Motorsport. Everyone's using their real names, so I have no idea who they are. So hopefully during the season people will start to get used to, hopefully I'll start to get used to who people actually are. But getting familiar with people's real names is going to be tricky, so yeah. Let's ride on board with, oh, they've already spectated, they've already done the lap. I'll start the TV Director back up when the race begins. So yeah, while qualifying is happening, probably best to give you all a bit of information about the series. It's not too late to sign up. This is a year-long series. It runs from um, the beginning of the year to the end of the year. There aren't quite going to be 52 rounds, I don't think, but I think it's going to run for most of the year. So a race every 1 to 2 weeks is the aim, I believe. There's quite a large prize pool on offer. It's currently around €400. It's possible that that's set to increase depending on sponsorship and things like that. Drivers' Champion after the year currently looks to receive €100, €75 on offer for the second place driver in the Drivers' Championship, and third will earn a respectable €50. There's prizes available for the Teams Championship, €100 for the top team, €50 for the second team, and €25 for the third team. So not an insignificant amount of money, although everyone's going to have to work quite hard for it because, like I said before, it is a year-long championship. As we have a change for pole position, that is a long name that I'm not going to pronounce right now. Who is it? It's Ayoub. Ayoub is on pole, followed by Fast, with Antonio in third and Velikov in fourth. That's one of the Nordic racing team that just slotted into fifth there. Let's watch a lap on board with Rick Cardle, who is about to run out of fuel, so he must just be at the end of the flying lap. Let's see what he's about to set. He's currently sat 14th, and he jumps up to 13th, so he made one position. Not bad. If any of the drivers want to join mid-race or at the end of the race into the stream to have a bit of an interview, then you can do that by joining the stream waiting room channel on the Team Rock Racing Discord. If you're not a member of that already, then there is a link on the LFS forum. Let's ride on board with someone who's about to set a lap. There's only 2 minutes left of the qualifying session. As Michael just sets a lap, where did that put him? Michael 17th for Michael Malik. Michael Malik, not Michael. Another change for the lead by the looks of it. Antonio's taken the lead. So it's a B2R Born to Race 1-2 at the moment. Not quite the podium lockout, but there's still time. Pretty close times at the top. The top three separated by only 0.03 of a second. Top six drivers have gone under the 1 minute 8 mark. I believe there'll be a short break between qualifying and the race. There are two races, in fact, the second of which is a reverse grid based on the results of the first race, so that should be really interesting with 35 cars. Whether that's going to end up being a good idea or not, we'll see. But yeah, really interesting reverse grid format for the second race, so that should be very interesting. Gabor moves up to third. So it's two B2R drivers followed by two Yes Motorsport drivers. and M. Velikov sat in third. Mikhail Velikov of Nayuka Factory. I promise you I'll get better at these names. Qualifying is over, and looks like the two B2R drivers have improved their laps towards the end there. Yeah. So yes, Motorsport take pole. Lucas Zutatas, fast to you and me. Fast LT of Yes Motorsport takes pole, followed by the two B2R drivers. So yeah, there'll be a short break before the start of the race, and then we'll get underway for what I believe are two 12-lap races around this really short Aston Cadet configuration. Mind you, we're using the UF1, so yeah, just over a minute a lap. So we can expect a 12 to 13 minute race if all goes well, and then there'll be obviously the grid reshuffle for the second race. So we're looking at about half an hour to 35 minutes of running in total. Really short race format, so kind of easy for anybody to get involved in, really. You can sign up on the LFS forum. It runs all year. Big prizes. Looks like it could be a fun little championship if you're new to racing or not new to racing. There's a pretty diverse range of drivers here. So I'm just going to fire up LFS TV Director again, see if we can get it to work. So yeah, chat is not blocked during the race, so we might see a bit of chat between the drivers. See who's getting angry. See who's pitting. I'll leave the chat on. So yeah, the driver's just getting ready for the start of the race then. Well, the start of race number 1, should I say. The race does have live stewards, so some members of the Team Rock Racing team will be keeping their eyes out and handing out penalties and kicks to people who are braking, who are causing significant problems. That might come into effect more so during the second race when the fast people are moving through to the front. Always interesting in a reverse grid format. the opening few laps as everybody kind of works their way through into their natural positions. But on such a tight track with so many cars, and in such a slow car, actually, it could take the whole race for everything to sort itself out. Two minutes to the start. Apparently the start is delayed for whatever reason. Not sure why. I'm sure we'll be underway in a second. Ah, I see. Someone had to restart. Starting in 1 minute. Here we go then. 12 laps of AS1 in the UF1. Hopefully TV Director puts focus back at the front. There we go. So, starting on pole, we have Yes Motorsports, El Zutatis, Lucas. And there we go, green. As all the cars make their way down to turn one. Hopefully everybody gets through sensibly. So far so good. Oh, bit of body scraping towards the back. Got someone off at turn one. As the cars make their way up the uphill chicane for the first time. Oh, a little bit of mess. As everybody starts to shuffle their way into position. There's Rick Cardle. Nearly 3 wide into the second hairpin. Or second part of the chicane, sorry. More door banging. And that's the first lap completed. It's going to be a move up the inside by power. Lots of nose to tail bumping. The UF1 really doesn't like being bumped around like that. See what's going on at the front. So yeah, the leaders seem to be pulling away slightly, leaving the rest of the field far behind. But there does seem to be a fair chunk of battling going on in the midfield. This is the battle for 9th place. Fastest lap by Lucas. Oh, contact. A little bit of contact is allowed in this series. It's kind of touring car rules. As soon as we move to some of the faster Formula cars, I'm sure the contact... Oh no, who's that upside down? El Benoit, who is now disconnected. That's a shame. Possibly our first casualty of the race, actually. 34 drivers still remaining. Good thing about slow cars is the battles are going to be really, really close. So it's never going to be a dull moment. New fastest lap by one of the B2R drivers there. Oh, too wide up the chicane, uphill chicane. Should probably call it corkscrew. Look at this, too wide, followed by too wide, followed by a different too wide now. Into the T1. Oh, a little bit of door banging. Michael Malek in 17th. We're over halfway through this race, so yeah, they're not long races, these. It's one of the MRC drivers we're on board with, Jimmy Vertinen. We've switched back to TCR Elmo, who seems to be defending hard. Oh, so yeah, we've got a TCR sandwich going on. Adam seems to be leading a train further back down the field. Down in 18th. Who are on board with S Silver. And back to Vertinen. Camera's jumping all over the place because there's so much concertinaing happening. It's closing up and then moving apart again. Unfortunately, no, I can't turn the names of the drivers on in the LFS TV Director. I am tempted to try doing the next race with just LFS's interface. If that is a more comfortable watching experience, then I will switch to that afterwards. I just elected to try using the LFS TV Director. It doesn't help, honestly, that this series has enforced the initial surname rule, because these are names that people don't normally use. So apart from the team colours of the cars, it's really difficult to kind of see who's who, especially since TV Director doesn't render the names of the drivers. So if people would prefer me to just use the LFS interface next time with names over cars, then that is what I'll do. Just let me know in the chat, please. Plenty of battling going on in this race though, which is promising. And pretty clean too, by what I can see. There's not been many big incidents that streams picked up anyway. God, this has been a big group all battle, this kind of Catilla McElroy battle. Let's have a look, see what's going on at the front, shall we? Big gap now for Fast. Wow, there's really big gaps opening up at the front, so really interesting how that's kind of worked out. Jay Catilla getting hounded by Ramon there, one of the V2R drivers. World class lines against Born to Race. New PB for Ayub and the new fastest lap. Here he is, closing in on second position. These top three guys have really pulled away. That's quite impressive. How much of a gap they've opened up, considering the UF1 is quite slow. So, well done to them. Yeah, I mean, PBs are likely to come late in this race. You know, you've got warmer tyres, lower fuel. The UF1 is not very effective unless you've got nice green, optimal temperature tyres. It does take a little while for them to get up to temperature where you can start setting decent lap times. And yeah, although the fuel tank isn't that big, fuel still weighs something. So in LFS, lap times tend to go down towards the end of races. So 2 laps to go. For our what's going to be a pretty interesting reverse grid scenario, I fear. Still plenty of... Oh, there's a nice little power slide into turn 1 there by S Silver. Elmo's still holding up a bunch of people as one of the TRR drivers. Oh, it's Rocky. The league organiser moves to the outside for turn 1. Is he going to send it? Nice overtake. Oh, or has he gone too deep? He's gone way too deep and he's let Elmo back through. So Elmo holds on for now. Well, at least the good thing about TV Director is that we are getting all of the action on the camera. It seems there's never a dull moment being picked up on the stream. So maybe it's worth sacrificing the names. They are shown in the bottom left, but just quite briefly. There's another lunge into turn 1. Little bit of contact, but pretty clean. And he's passed by the looks of it. Here's Rick up behind one of the WCL drivers. Can't quite see car 72. Who's driving car 72? Car 72 is Darius V. Trespasser, I believe, of Yes Motorsport. One of the TCR drivers up against a TRR driver. Oh, it's Rocky versus Elmo again. Final lap. Well done to Fast, who wins the first round of the first race. Sorry, the first race of the first round in this series. Followed by A. Debeliak. I don't know who these people are, honestly. I am going to need to check usernames after the race. I'm going to kill TV Director temporarily so we can actually see what the results were of this race. Apologies for not knowing everybody's names because, as I mentioned before, okay, so who have we got? Fast takes the win, followed by Antonio, B2R Antonio. Then it's B2R Ayub and Mvelikov. Not sure who that is. Ah, Gabor. Gabor in third. P Paolo in... Sorry, I can't even count now. Velikov fourth. Gabor fifth. Paolo sixth. Reject in seventh. T Salmonen in eighth. P Picano in ninth. Rayman in 10th. Jay Catilla, one of the Jay Catillas anyway. That is Jari Catilla in 11th. Koivunen in 12th for WCL. Rick Cardle in 13th. S Silva in 14th. Nico in 15th. Hydro 18NL in 16th. Jay Vertinen in 17th. Adam Brown of TC Racing in 18th. And Master Race Car Michael Malek at 19th, and what looks to be Dick Van Dyke, everybody, in 20th. Not Dick Van Dyke, Duncan Van Dyke, but thought I'd throw that in for comedic value. So yeah, I believe what's going to happen now is the race is going to end, the grid is going to be reversed, and we're going to have another 12 lap race, but this time with all the fast drivers starting at the back. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Second race due to start pretty shortly. This is going to be really interesting, honestly. Considering that this championship is for money, having all the fast drivers starting at the back, this could be very interesting. Yeah, so because the championship is for money, things could get pretty heated in this next race. I know it's a year long. There's probably going to be around probably 40 to 50 races. Not one every week, but one at least every 2 weeks, I'm assured. The chat after this race was pretty subdued, but I can imagine that the chat after the next race is going to get quite tasty. So sit back and enjoy this one. I think TV Director is going to be going quite mad during this race. Okay, so apparently it's once a week, but the summer holidays in the last race probably won't happen. Last race of the year before Christmas probably won't happen. So yeah, we're looking at about 50 races this year. Two minutes till the start, okay. Let's get LFS TV Director started back up. Should probably plug the sponsors at this point. The prize pool is being sponsored by Rocky, Cho Lover 7, and M Details. More information about them can be found in the TRR Championship 2020 LFS forum section. And since it's the first round, I don't know anybody's names, so apologies for that in advance. Well, the horns and ramming have started and the race hasn't even started, so this looks promising, doesn't it? Elmo's skin is fantastic. All of Elmo's skins are fantastic. But his UF1 especially, because he's blocked the TC Racing logo with his own face. I'm a little bit sad I didn't get to drive my TCR UF1 skin today, but I'm perfectly happy to stream. Alright, my clock says 20 to 9, so the next race should be starting. Looks like we have another driver for this race. So another healthy grid. Well, an even bigger grid, I guess. Oh no, someone left during the last race, so leaving after the first race of a 2-race event. Or during, rather. That's not very good, is it? Especially in such a long series. So a reminder for anyone just joining, the next race is the second of 2 races in this round, and it is a reverse grid race based on the results of the first one. 12 laps, so we're looking at about 12 to 13 minutes of racing, and pretty sure we're guaranteed to see quite a few accidents as all of the fast drivers make their way through to the front of the grid. Seems there's a bit of a delay for the start of the race again. But I'm sure we'll be underway very shortly. "45", okay. Clearly I wasn't reading. I saw someone say 40. So yeah, 2 minutes. Thanks, Elmo. Hey, you're racing. How have you got time to be watching the stream as well? Get out of the chat. Do some practice. Oh, that's a big crash. Apologies for my custom banners. I didn't have time before the race to load the official ones. I promised to have the official ones loaded for the next race. Next round. Alright, here we go then. Good luck, drivers. You're gonna need it. Hopefully this doesn't go. Hopefully this goes without a hitch. The reverse start. Currently 33 cars on the grid. Oh yes, I have custom horns on as well. Hopefully we don't hear those during the race. Okay, it's 9:15. The race is starting. All eyes are going to be at the back of the grid on the 5 or 6 drivers actually who were able to open quite a gap at the start last time. This start will be interesting. In my experience, reverse grid races never end well. especially in cars that are so slow and bounce about quite a lot when they make contact. It'll be interesting actually to see how far through the pack the quick guys can get in this actually. Wow, that is a lot of cars that Fast has got to make his way through. 34 cars. We're going to watch the lights from here. Race 2 about to go green. 1 light, 2 lights. And they're off. Oh, everybody missing turn 1 apparently. Probably to be expected, the less experienced drivers at the front making mistakes. Looks like our winner from the last race hasn't managed to make any positions yet. Oh, and there's a big crash at the top of the corkscrew. And another one. Oh, it's the leaders of the last race tangling with each other. They're not going to win by doing that. Another big accident as we enter the last chicane. And more wheel banging and barging. Lots for the stewards to do after this race, I think. So many cars. Worth noting actually that there are a lot of born to race cars at the back of this grid, which means that a lot of B2R guys picked up a lot of points in the last in the first race. So good result for those guys. Our winner from the last race has made up 6 places so far. Oh, plenty of sideways action. Oh, and there's someone spun out. And it's all the action's happening at the back. This is not what I expected at all. Well, I suppose as people were carving their way through, crashes and spills are going to be inevitable, I guess. Oh, jeepers. Car 88 there running into the back of someone. Possible it was laggy. The server hasn't been that bad during the race, but I am noticing a lot more wobbling about and contact this race though. That was inevitable. Starting to string out a bit, but there's still plenty of pack racing going on. 3 wide into turn 1 there. Oh, yeah. Horns are out. Oh, is that the? Yeah, that was fast. Getting punted wide there. Having trouble cutting through as we expected, but he has made up 14 places so far. 14 places. Currently sits in 20th. We're on board now. Nice bit of corner cutting there. Fastest lap by Rocky. Nearly a second slower than the fastest lap of last race, so I'm sure we've got quite a lot of... Oh, there you go. Immediately beaten by one of the B2R guys. Times are going to drop throughout this race as the... And there we go. Beaten again by Rayman. So we'll be back into the 107s pretty quickly. See, this reverse grid has really grouped everyone up in the middle, as everyone tries to find their natural position. Really close race. Not quite sure who's going to come out on top of this one, but it's looking like, because it's such a slow car on such a technical track, as Elmo sets a PB classically during the race. He's good at doing that. Ayub on the grass, bit of slide, loses a position. Would he lose another? Looks like it. Could lose another there, third. So yeah, our leaders from the last race are only as far up as, I want to say, 19th. So here they are now, all fighting each other. They need to work together. They've got to work together to cut through the field, or else they're not going to manage it in the 7 laps we've got left. Remember, it's all about maximising points, not just for themselves, but for their teams as well. So they need to work together. As far as I know, every single round is going to feature 2 races, and the second race is going to be a reverse grid. So sooner or later, they're going to work this out, that they need to work together, and if they want to get to the front and score consistent points throughout the year. Because at this rate, it looks like if you want to do well in race 2, sandbag and finish low down in race 1, so that you get a clean start, clean getaway in at least one of the races. And that's a huge accident. Loads of cars, and that's the leader. That was fast. Who spun round, dropping way down, back down to 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, getting absolutely mugged. So this is what I was saying. It's going to end up being a battle of attrition, this series, and it's really going to reward consistent finishes. You've got to keep it clean. You've got to work together. Work out which battles you want to go for and which aren't the ones that just aren't worth it. Yeah, so many cars affected in that little accident there, but like I said, it was all towards the back again, because these fast drivers they're not able to clear the pack and get too close to the front. It does look like there's too much aggressive driving going on, so they just need to calm down and realise that it's not all over this race. You know, it's a long season, and well, basically the longest season it's possible to have, I guess, in a racing series, the whole year. It will be interesting to see which driver has earned the most points this round, because it's not obvious to me at all without going back through the results and seeing. But it does look like Nico Pantola in 6th has had 2 pretty decent finishes this race, this round. I know he finished relatively high up in the last race, and he's managed to keep his nose clean and currently sits in 6th in this race. And as I said that, he just sets a new PB and the fastest lap of the race. So seems to kind of confirm my suspicion that he's had a pretty good round. Two WCL guys together. J.A. Catilla and the other Catilla, in fact. Both Catillas. Father and son duo. In 12th and 13th. As Nico apologises in chat, although he has moved up a position. So Nico moves up to 5th in this race. Rocky currently sitting in a podium position in 3rd. Let's run down the order. T. Poulsen leads the way in 3rd with 3 laps to go, followed by Eduardo P. and Elmo, who takes over the podium position from Rocky. Rocky will be upset about that. I'm sure he would have liked a podium in his first race of his own series, but I'm sure these two will be battling because I know that they were battling for most of the last race as well. Apologies for that. The TV director decides to change camera views to on board whenever the leader passes over a split, so I have to keep turning on automatic cam. Yeah, we're going to keep an eye on this battle for a while, I think. The final podium position between Elmo and Rocky. TCR versus TRR. As Rocky makes a lunge up the inside. Camera switched away, unfortunately. Although it's been a bit of a messy race, there has been some good battling going on. I'm sure people will have some stories to tell afterwards. So I hope that a couple of them jump in the booth and will tell us about their experience. Oh, that was nearly a flip. Tell us about their experience of the first round. So it looks like Poulsen is being caught by Eduardo P quite quickly here. There might be a last-minute change of position on the last lap. Rocky is currently ahead of Elmo, but look at this. Look at this scrap for the last podium position. We've got 4 or 5 cars involved in this. And in fact, yeah, Nico is there. Nico is going to be wanting that position. We're following him now, number 87. He's got 2 laps left to seal the deal. As my camera decides it's going to change again. There we go. Stick on board with these guys. This is going to be a bit of a scrap, I think. 3 wide into turn 1, 2 fins surrounding a Brit there. Elmo's going to get absolutely mugged here. Oh, Elmo holds the inside. Who've we got? Looks like Nico's done all 3 of them, all 2 of them, sorry. So Nico will now go and chase down Rocky for that podium position. Rocky's going to defend that for his life, I think. 1 lap to go. This is Jay Vertinen following Nico. Maybe Rocky will lose out on 2 places here on the last lap. Oh, as Nico makes a mistake. Vertinen moves to the outside, and he's done him. He's got past. So Nico with a mistake there, probably losing out on a chance at getting a podium now. They can't let Rocky get too far away. They've got to chase him down. Apologies. Oh, that was the last lap. My mistake. I was too slow at realising that. So that was the end. Eduardo P did, in fact, overtake T. Poulsen for the win. It must have happened on the last lap. My apologies. Let's jump out of TV director, and get a look at the results. Looked like quite a interesting end at the front, especially as some of the faster drivers kind of caught up right at the last minute. Nico will be probably a bit gutted he couldn't actually seal the podium, but it does look like Walter Lemons, Rocky, managed to get his get the podium he was after. So let's have a quick look at the list, shall we? So yes, T. Paulson wins race 2 of round 1 of this series. Let's just quickly switch to him. There he is. Followed by Eduardo P. and Walter. Congrats. Jay Vertanen, followed by Nico. Elmo in 6th. Ben D in 7th. A. Arles in 8th. Eldred in 9th. The Cotillas, one of them at least. Yari Cotilla in 10th. Hydro 18 NL in 13th. Sorry, I need to start that again. In 10th, we have Yari Cotilla. Then we have S. Silva in 11th. Yoni Cotilla in 12th. Hydro 18 NL in 13th. L. Vinicius in 14th. P. Picanco in 15th. Duncan Van Dyke in 16th. Ayub in 17th. T. Salmonen? Who is that? T. Salmonen in 18th. He finished pretty highly in the first round. Then we have Fast, the winner in the first race, all the way down in 19th position. And there are some drivers pretty eager to join in here. So first of all, we're going to drag in Rocky. Hi, Rocky.
Hey, Pete.
How did your first race go? Your first round? How did you feel it
Well,
went?
the first race of the first round was for me at least a misery, but thanks to that, I of course started pretty far forward on the second round with the reverse grid, and my God, what a battle I had with your own TCR sorry,
Yeah, I was
McElroy.
watching that towards the end. You ended
I
up
made yeah,
keeping well, taking third away and then stopping Nico and Verton and catching you in the last couple of laps.
actually, in fact, before you actually noticed I was betting, I already had overtaken McElroy, but he just took me back.
Yeah, I saw that you were swapping positions. Elmo finishing down in 6th there. So
It's just a shame.
how would you rate the first round? A success?
Well, for me personally, as a driver, amazing success. I never expected to even be in the top 10, in any of the races.
Where did you
But
finish in race 1?
I think 32nd or something, really bad. Sorry, 29th. But I had a miserable race with contact here and there. But the second race was amazing, and I'm really happy for that. But let's be honest, with from for our events from Team Up Racing at least, one of the bigger fields we've ever had in both races of the first round. It was amazing, and I had a lot of fun. So I hope all the drivers had fun as well. I hope, of course, your viewers had fun as well. I must be honest, I had to stream them all in the background that I could hear basically what was happening throughout the race. Because I must say, Pete, you also done a really good job. Thank you for hosting the stream. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it was cool. It looks like your format of having one regular race based on qualifying and then a reverse grid race is going to open up quite a lot of strategy for long-term success in this series.
Yes.
So yeah, it's been an interesting format. It was interesting to see just how much the people who suffered due to the reverse grid had trouble getting through. I don't know if you saw, but there was a really big accident kind of about halfway through the race where involving most of the front runners from the last race, about 6 of them involved at turn 1.
That's a shame. I didn't. Yeah, I noticed it from your commentary on the background, but I didn't actually see it happen.
No,
So.
you can watch the stream back and see what happened there, and obviously the replays. But yeah, do you want to give us some information about the next round and the series and the sponsors?
Well, basically, one of the sponsors, of course, from the series is myself, Chill Over 7. Let's say, I can be honest about the YouTube money that I make. I always felt like, the things that I do with my YouTube, I do it for my fans, for my viewers. So when I actually start earning this much money with it, of course, I can do something back for something I love. What I love is Live for Speech, and I want to get it more active again. So that's why my idea started, to start a championship with a prize pool, and especially involving teams, not just individual drivers. And luckily, a good friend of mine who just started a company which is called M Details, which is for car detailing. He decided to hop in and also sponsor an amount of money for the championship. So that was really nice. And with some help also from the LFS devs, here and there, we actually got to get the series set up. And yeah, from one came the other, and this was the first round. In my opinion, it was amazing. Even though we didn't make the 40 car grid, I do feel we had an amazing first round, and looking
Yeah, I
forward to.
mean, you don't have to worry about that. I'm sure people will tell their teammates about this. I'm sure there's a bunch of people on the stream. I know that Trespasser was watching on the stream and he wasn't able to race today. So, um, it's a big prize pool. It's a long season. It looks like people enjoyed themselves. At least most of them did. So I wouldn't count your chickens too early. I think your grid sizes should either should improve. So yeah. But still, having 30 plus cars in your first two races is not anything to be ashamed of. It's good.
In fact, it's still for Team Rock Racing in general. That's a record. The previous record was 26. So in the first race of basically a new Team Rock Racing, new season, new everything, with let's say a more older level speed with less drivers, this is amazing. So yeah. I can only be thankful to every competitor, every team that has participated in this first round. And to say it as I usually say it, I hope to see you at the next round. This was Show Number 7 out, and I give the word back to TCP.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be back for round two next week. Did you already say what the combo was?
That's a good thing. The next week is a West Hill International with the Formula BMW.
Okay,
Nine,
so yeah, West Hill
also,
International. So that's the long one, with a kind of low power single seater. So that should be interesting.
and as well, the races again, two sprint races with the same format as you said before. Qualification of 12 minutes, then 9 lap race, and then a 9 lap race with a reverse grid again. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I am interested in streaming the next race as well. I've had a lot of fun streaming this one, and it'd be good to kind of get used to who's driving in the field because I don't know if you have the same problem while you were driving, but for me, it was really difficult to know who was who. So I need to kind of get used to people's new names that they're running around with, first initials and surnames and things like that. So um, I'll stream the next round and keep streaming
That would be
these
amazing.
races.
If you would like to do that, that would be really amazing. I'm really thankful.
Yeah, no worries. It's actually been quite fun. It's something different for me. I normally just race, so stream these races and yeah, it should be a fun season. Any last words before we call it a day?
Well, only a few words I have left to say once more. Thank you to the drivers and teams for attending. It's those drivers and teams that make it possible, to be such a success. So yeah, and
Brilliant.
of
Well,
course,
yeah, congrats
and
on
of course,
your yeah.
for once more you, the streamer, because I can really appreciate having a stream to watch back after the race, so I can actually re-enjoy what I was enjoying the entire evening. So
Yeah, well, on that note, I will appreciate any feedback on the stream, whether you want me to use anybody listening or watching after the race, and obviously through it. If you want me to use LFS TV Director again, I will. If you would rather me just use the standard LFS controls to show names over cars and be able to kind of do onboards and things like that, then I can do that. Just yeah, I think the thing that was nice about using LFS TV Director again was that it did kind of move to the action automatically as soon as someone made contact or there was a move. The LFS TV Director was straight there to pick it up, even though it was often quite difficult to see who was actually driving the car. But as the series goes on, people should, I'll start to learn people's names and skins and things like that, and it should improve as it goes on. But yeah,
I'm sure it will. So for me, I have nothing left to say to the viewers or to you. So I would thank you once again for the stream, and see you then next week.
brilliant. Yeah. On that note, thanks, Rocky. I don't think anybody else is still waiting around for an interview, are they? Let's have a look.
No, no. The only guy that is waiting here is Silver, but he wants an answer for. He wants the IRO back for the server. So
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Rocky, and see you next week.
see you next week. Bye bye.
Okay, that was Rocky. He runs this series. Again, just to um, plug the series, you can sign up for it on the LFS forum in the TRR Championship 2020 subsection. I've been TCP, and I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.